Hey team, welcome back to my channel. Before we look at the function, let's just make sure we understand what we're trying to do here. So here you see I'm declaring a variable called Morse code, and I'm putting in a Morse code pattern. Let's go ahead and execute that. And then notice our output here. You can see that we just got standard Morse code. Now, see this space in between these individual patterns? The space character tells me I'm at the end of the pattern. So here I'm going to say, go find the position where you see that space. Let's go ahead and execute that. And now you can see that this space is at position 6. So if I come over here and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's only for the pattern, plus the space gives us 6. You get it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at position 1 for that space -1, and I'm going to assign that to block. So now I'm just going to get out the first pattern. You can see this is that right there, but without the space. Then what we're going to do is we are going to reset Morse code. Instead of being this whole pattern, each time I'm going to take out the part that we just used. So let's take a look at that. You can see now that this pattern is the rest of this. And I just stay inside of a loop and I just keep executing this code. Let's look at some examples. In our first example, we have the words Morse code, and this is what that looks like. So I'm going to assign that to Morse code. I'm then going to translate it, and then I'm going to show you the output. Ready? Morse code. Cool. For our second example, notice that we have 1965 softwareNuggets. Go ahead and execute that one. Notice the output. And our last example, we have numbers and some symbols. And there's the output. Are you ready to learn how to write this function? Let's do it. If you'd like to follow along, you can go to my GitHub account, go to softwareNuggets, SQL Server examples, and look for a file called Morse Code to text.sql. Let's go ahead and drop this to kind of start over. And it all begins here on line 9. Notice SFN, what does that mean? Well, this is a scalar function. So scalar function, and then the name of our function. We have one input parameter called at Morse code. It's a varchar max. Notice I'm also returning a varchar max. So we begin by giving a variable declarations. We got our translation. We got a single character. And then we're building a temporary table. Notice it has the letter and the Morse code value. So here's the letter, here's the value. I have it for all the alphabet, I have it for the numbers, and then I have it for some punctuation. And it all begins here at this while loop on line 61. Now I begin with while, and while Morse code length is greater than 0. Earlier I show you how I keep rebuilding Morse code by removing the block that I'm processing. So here I'm just declaring a variable. I'm going to go find that space. I showed you earlier how we did that. Now, if this space comes back 0, I'm going to say, let's add 1 to that. Then I'm going to take that substring Morse code 1 for that space. That's going to take the first part of that off the pattern. And then I'm going to reset Morse code minus what I have assigned to that block. So the Morse code variable keeps getting smaller. Now for that block, I'm going to come up here to this table. I'm going to find whatever this is, and I'm going to return you this, right? That's what this does. Now, if at single char is not null, that means I found something. Now, if that is null, I'm just going to replace that with a space. Hit end. Well, end takes us back up to while. I do the test again, and I just re-execute this. And that's all there is to this function. Hope you enjoyed this video.